Hello and welcome to a ride along. I'm just gonna chat while I take you guys with me on a really fun ride in Palos Verdes. That's Southern California. I took a much needed vacation from Las Vegas. I gotta say, I've been living out here for about 1.5 years. First year, I thought the heat would be all right. Second year, I'm like, you know what? I'm really tired of it still being like 100 degrees at 11 o'clock p.m. at night in August, which is late into the summer, and it's still that hot. Like, give me a break. So I drove, like 4.5 hours to get to the coastline of Southern California, and here we are. I rode quite a few miles of the coastline. I kind of just played by ear, much like I am doing with this voiceover, just playing it by ear, talking as I go, and yeah, literally just picked hotels day by day to kind of decide, do I want to ride over here? Do I want to stay another night? Yeah, that's how we did things. And we had a really good time just playing it by ear. And, you know, maybe I should be really appreciative that I can actually do that at this time in my life. So we're living it up while we can, guys. Anyway, this is some single track stuff. I thought this trail would actually lead somewhere, but spoiler alert, it was just a dead end. So anyway, I ended up backtracking. I got my way onto a path that actually does lead somewhere. So now we're going places. I thought that path was like a shortcut to get to the other side, but we're just going to take this path to get there. You'll see some people running by. I think it's like maybe around 5 o'clock p.m. or so. I am raw dogging it, as in no gloves, no gear, but you know, I'm going like jogging / sprinting speeds at most, and I'm riding terrain that I don't really consider to be very high risk at all. So, you know, say what you want about helmets and so on. I am riding a scooter that goes up to like 50 miles an hour, but I never take it that fast, ever. And especially on this ride, I am just going at speeds where I don't think my falls are going to be very serious and, you know, extremely unlikely to fall. But I know the risk is always there. Safer to wear a helmet, whatever, I know. But I do have a trapper hat on and a regular hat on to keep the sun out of my eyes, some glasses on just to keep stuff out of my eyes. And that's how we're riding. So this is my first time doing any of this trail. Everything that I am seeing, I was seeing for the first time on this ride, and it was spectacular. There were a few rides that I had done before filming this ride. Like, I was in Torrance, which is not too far from this location, and I rode north, and there is just an insane beach path called the Strand, and it just goes for so many miles right alongside, like, on the actual beach. And I have footage of that, which we'll do in a video later, but there's so much stunning footage, and I'm gonna try to voice over all of it, and that way I just have a way to look back on some of my riding, but also kind of talk while you guys watch. And, you know, part of what I want to do is just show the beauty of riding scooters, and I think this video and the ones I'll be uploading from this trip really set an example for why scooters are so awesome. And I think the number one thing for me is that they really can go anywhere, especially if you get a nice one, because I like to do the off-road stuff. I think that on my gnarlier days, I do some of the stuff that's like, I mean, I used to mountain bike, so like, I don't know, an intermediate mountain bike trail. I would say that if you're a good scooter rider with a very capable off-road scooter, dual motor, dual suspension, you might be able to ride some of the intermediate trails at like a legit mountain bike park. But my point is that these can really go anywhere, and I'm speaking from a legal perspective as well. You can ride kind of on the road, in the bike lanes, on the sidewalks, and, you know, usually people don't really bat an eye as long as you're not tearing it up. I think here, I'm going like 25 or so, but I mean, I'm clear to do so. I wouldn't ride that fast in a place with a lot of foot traffic, which in other videos from this trip, you will definitely see me in areas with a lot of foot traffic. So I always ride giving pedestrians and so on a lot of courtesy. I don't want anyone to think like, oh, who's that jerk on the scooter? I hate those things. I want people to be like, oh, that's a nice scooter. It's very quiet. It's not disturbing the peace at all. And he seems to be riding respectfully. That's fine. We don't mind if he's here. That's the kind of impression I want to give off when I'm riding around pedestrians, not the kind of impression that people riding Surons kind of rightfully get. So anyway, these can go anywhere, and that really is the beauty of it. And this scooter is the Teveran Fighter 11. I will let you know I actually sold my 7260R, which is kind of the big, scary brother version of this scooter, which has 13-inch wheels as opposed to the 11s on here, and a lot more power, a higher top speed. I had the latest version that was really stable, no death wobbles as it was called, but I ended up selling it because it was just kind of the less practical version, and I'll probably get another scooter, but this one felt like the more practical one to keep. It's easier to lift and put in my car. It's like maybe 80-something pounds, and that 7260R was like almost 120 pounds and longer, bigger. I couldn't get it into my car and have this kind of trip. And for what I'm doing here, I don't need those 13-inch tires and 70 miles an hour top speed. So I sold it to a person that I think is really happy with it. So that was nice. It was a good deal, or a good sale for me and a good purchase for him. So win-win for everybody there. And I have some money to maybe look at some other scooters that'll suit me better. So that's that. But in the future, I plan to do a review on the 7260R, since I did own it, but did ultimately end up selling it. So we'll talk about that. But I'll talk about this scooter a little bit here and there, since it's the one I'm riding. And again, I know that I'm just kind of talking, but you know, it's something to listen to as you guys watch this scenery. You can choose to focus on what I'm saying, or kind of listen passively and just enjoy this beautiful environment. You know, one of the common reasons people live in Vegas is because they moved there to save money. You know, the cost of living in Vegas is pretty low for how nice it is compared to a place like California, for example. And recently I've just been feeling like, is it worth it? When you wake up in the desert and it's like 100 degrees or more for so many of the days. And then I came out here and it's like, you know, middle or late summer. Any time of day it's nice outside, you know? So I'm just thinking, like, cost of living wise, that's something to factor in. If you like to be outside, you want to live right by the beach, I mean, just look at that. That right there says everything you need to know about why is California more expensive than Nevada. Well, right there. That's one of the reasons. Justifiably so. Sometimes I feel like in Vegas it's really hard to find much to do outside when it's really hot, except to just do things that are kind of built around that casino lifestyle, you know, staying indoors. You got malls, you got casinos and restaurants and stuff, and there's a lot of entertainment, but there's nothing like this. Like, you're kind of trapped inside. And some people like wake up at 4 in the morning to get a hike in at 5 in the morning or whatever before the sun cooks your face off. Or they wait until later in the day to do activities outside because it's way too hot if they miss that early window. And it's just, I don't know, Vegas's temperature has a way of forcing you indoors or forcing you into late night or early morning lifestyles. It's a very strange place in that regard. But yeah, coming here, it was nice. Just whatever time of day I woke up and wanted to go outside, it was always like the ideal time, even though it's mid-summer. And this neighborhood in particular, obviously, I'm sure, very expensive. I mean, waterfront properties, pretty much, or cliffside views just everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, world-class views all around you. I'm sure that people pay a premium for that, and the weather. And the whole area is really nice. Like, the roads are in good shape, you know what I mean? So good for them. Good for them. All right, I'm just going to pull up to the little beach view here before I actually go down there. We'll show you guys that in a second. Oh, you know what? I guess I do go down. I thought I paused. I'm watching this footage kind of for the first time as well. I'm just watching it and speaking over it as I go. Down here, I was really trying to make sure, again, I'm not bothering or disturbing anybody. To be honest, I'm not sure that I'm allowed to take my vehicle here. I kind of feel like if you're allowed to take a bicycle, you can take a scooter. That's kind of just my moral rule of thumb. But I always try to ride in a way that I'm not tearing up the ground, I'm not disrespecting or scaring anybody. So that's what I'll say about that. I'm not 100% sure I'm allowed to be riding my scooter here, but, you know, in some regards, it was like, I'll be darned if I don't, you know? I don't think I'm doing anything destructive to the ground or disturbing the peace in any way, so I just felt like I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I think everyone will be okay with it. So anyway, if someone's really triggered by seeing a scooter in the comments there, that's kind of my response ahead of time to that. I hope you understand. I mean, it's understandable why someone would want to ride their scooter here, and I think almost everybody would agree that this is way less disturbing than a freaking motorcycle or a Suron bike, you know what I mean? I'm trying to ride in the least disturbing way possible, so again, it is what it is, and we all feel however way we feel about it. I'm riding my tire pressure a lot higher than I want to. I'll let you guys know I had my front tire basically go flat the other day, and it was really hard to get it reseated and filled with air, so now I'm just keeping it really high so that there's no risk of, I don't know what happened, maybe the bead on the wall kind of opened up with really low tire pressure and then let all the air out. I'm not really sure how I got it flat, but it wasn't due to any punctures. Maybe just a super slow leak, you know, as air leaks over time really slowly, and then eventually it just kind of opened up or something. I'm not sure. But it was so hard to reseat that tire that I think maybe there's something a little going on with that tire or something. It shouldn't be that hard to seat a tire, my goodness. I mean, it took like 20 minutes and a couple guys in a bike shop with an air compressor to get that thing to seat. And I was able to do the rear one with a regular bike pump just by myself. So, I mean, why is the difference that big between the front and the rear? I don't know. That shouldn't be how it is. So we'll see about that later. I generally like to ride a little bit below 20 psi. I think here I'm riding around like 35 psi, just taking no chances, risking a bumpier ride to optimize for no risk of flats. Anyway, there's a view. And I had some tennis plans kind of soon after this ride, so I didn't stick around to enjoy it too much. I was there for about as long as you saw me standing there as it cut to the next scene, but I'm going to ride back up the route that I came down. So hopefully that's fun to watch. I mean, I love the way that this footage is caught, these chest mount GoPro videos. It really captures what the sense of riding this scooter is like. I really appreciate that about these cameras. And this, I don't know, this road is just crazy. I mean, parallel to the beach like this on such a day, I mean, this view is just unreal. You know, there's something so cinematic about this. It's ridiculous. I'm literally watching this and just kind of grinning ear to ear at how cool the footage is. I mean, that was so awesome to have gotten to ride this, and I'm honored to be able to share it with you guys and have a little audience watching. I mean, this is so cool. I think this is in some ways what I'm really passionate about with this channel. I want scooters that are really good at doing this. And I'd love to cultivate a community of people who appreciate this side of scooters, you know? I'm really not personally, and no hate, I really mean this in the most genuine way possible, absolutely no hate, but I just do not care at all about the top speed of scooters. I am never going to take that insane thing at 70 miles an hour, like, mark my words, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm interested in doing. This is not something that a lot of people do, and it's part of why scooters are not optimized for this kind of riding, because people just don't even think about it. But it's what I want to do, you know? And I'm not saying that my preferences are better than somebody's. I'm just being honest. Like, this is what I want to do. And for anybody challenging my preferences on what I look for in a scooter, well, you have to consider that this is what I want to do on a scooter. So I think once you realize that, then it's like, oh, that's why you want those things. That's why you put smaller rotors on the scooter. You'll sacrifice a little bit of stopping power for clearance. Ah, that makes sense, because you're riding off-road. Okay, and you're not going at super high speeds. Maybe that makes sense. Maybe you don't need those giant rotors that are going to scrape a rock, you know? That and other preferences really matter to me, like being able to, I don't know, change the acceleration curve on the throttle instead of just dealing with whatever the factory thinks everybody wants, which is often just some crazy torque show-off thing that has no control and it's really jerky. You can't be riding stuff like that out here, you know what I mean? You can't do that. Anyway, here's another view. And I think I'll wrap this video up pretty soon, but we'll have one more little clip as I finish out the video here. So just to keep the video normal healthy length. I will end this video in a couple minutes from this shot, but this will show you kind of what the next video will be about. I'm just working my way down the coastline here from Palos Verdes, and the ride just continues to be beautiful. There's stretches here that go through some amazing neighborhoods, like everyone's yard and everyone's house is just so scenic in a way. And even the road itself somehow, just the aesthetic of this place is ridiculous. And I basically make my way to some other scenic spots, certain views over some cliffs. Maybe there's like a shipwreck coming up. That might be actually the next thing that I'm heading to. And just some other really cool, over the cliff type of views or something. I mean, I don't remember the names of everything. I should probably have a little map so you guys can kind of see where this is more or less. And there's some road stretches here where nobody's driving that fast, but I do end up riding kind of parallel to the road, but there's somewhat of a protected lane and so on. So I felt totally comfortable out here. And yeah, if you guys want to save $50 on this or any scooter from superscoots.com, my link and code give you $50 off. And I obviously really like this scooter. It's my scooter of choice. I will continue searching the market, but there really just might be a place for this scooter in my space always. We'll see. I obviously recommend it. I've had such a great time and so many good experiences on that scooter. It's highly capable and customizable. You can see my full review on this scooter where I go into deeper detail about this, but yeah, obviously a big fan. I scoured the market for options before committing to this scooter, and I liked it so much that I figured if I wanted to really step things up that it would make sense to get the bigger brother of this scooter, which yes, I sold, but my whole point is that this scooter set a really high bar for me and actually won me over from quite a few other brands that people mention, such as Nami, for example. I would maybe choose Teve Run even over Nami for a bunch of reasons, but at the end of the day, it's all personal. And yeah, it's nice to have an app where you can customize so many things, like how much power goes to the front, to the rear, the acceleration curves, the top speed of each gear. That one's really important to me. So yeah, this scooter does all of that, and now I kind of expect that from other scooters. Like, how dare you sell me a scooter and I can't control the strength of the regenerative braking? Or gosh, what if you don't even offer it? That's insane. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with these. The Teve ones do a really good job. Are they perfect? No. But are they good enough? Oh yeah, I would say absolutely, for sure. And you can see that they are definitely good enough for what I'm doing. Anyway, that's more or less all for now. Southern California has kind of a special place in my heart now. It's nice to be in Vegas where I'm closer to this, but in some ways it also just really teases me because, man, is it nice to just wake up late in the morning and then have the entire day be so nice and just enjoy it outside as you wish. I envy that, but I'm happy for those who live there. Anyway, that's all for now. Stay tuned and watch the next video to see where this ride takes me next.